Okay. Hare, Hare Krishna devotees. So welcome to the BhagavatSanga program. We have been doing the different prayers of different various devotees from Srimad Bhagavatam. And the theme that is going on right now is the prayers of the Nagapatnis to Lord Shri Krishna from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 16, verses 33 to 53. So this week we have Her Grace Atma Maya Mataji, wonderful devotee, presenting to all of us. So over to you, Atma Maya Mataji.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I would like to thank Satyajit Prabhu and Veena Mataji also for giving this opportunity. So today I'll be starting from the praise of Nagapatni from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 16, verse 33 to 36. So first I'd like to with the prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tado jayam udiret nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki om ajnana timirandasya nananjana shalakaya chakshut unmilatam ena tasmai sri guruve namaha Mugham karoti vachalam pangum lengete girim yat kripatam aham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pangaja Nabaya Nama Pangaja Maline Nama Pangaja Netraya Namaste Pangajangre Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, I start with the introduction. So, this chapter describes Lord Krishna's pastime of subduing the serpent Kaliya within the lake adjoining the river Yamuna, and is showing mercy to Kaliya in response to the prayers offered by Kaliya's wives, the Nagapatnis. So because of his Kaliya's poison, the whole area was so contaminated that it emanated a poisonous vapor 24 hours a day. So if a bird happened to even pass over the spot, he would immediately fall down in the water and die. So Kaliya was misusing his power. The venom for the snake is actually for self-defense, but here he was misusing his power. So the verse I would like to start is text 33. Nagapatnya uvacha nyayayo hi danda krite klivishesmans tava vataraha kala nigrahasya ripoha sutanam apitulya drishtir dadase damam phalam evanusamam. The wives of Kaliya, serpent said, the punishment this offender has been subjected to is certainly just. After all, you have incarnated within the world to curb down envious and cruel persons. You are so impartial that you look equally upon your enemies and your own sons. For when you impose a punishment on a living being, you know it is to be for his ultimate benefit. The text 34. Anugrahoyam bhavataha kritohino dando sadam te kalu kalma shapahaha yed danda suktavam amushya dehina krodo pite nugraha eva samahata. What you have done here is actually mercy for us, since the punishment you give to the wicked certainly drives away all their contamination. Indeed, because this conditioned soul, our husband, is so sinful that he has assumed the body of a serpent. Your anger towards him is obviously to be understood as your mercy. So, I'm just like to share some of my realizations. So, from this verse, I understood what should be the mode of our prayer. It always should be in a complete surrender mode. So here the Nagapatni say in this verses, Krishna, your punishment is fair. You are impartial. Your punishment is mercy and expression of love. You don't favor anyone. So important point here is they're not blaming Krishna. That is the first quality of a devotee. So here they're admitting their husband is a crooked. His actions are offensive. So you punish someone is to be understood that reaction of the sinful activities are eradicated. So they beg for forgiveness from Krishna. So our husband is the enemy, still they are child. That's what they're telling here. So all living entities, including the rebellious one, are your children. You have incarnated in this world to punish all the demons. Here they are revealing Krishna's weakness is forgiving nature. So in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Krishna says, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So Lord especially descends to appease to his unalloyed devotees. So example, we can see the Devaki, Prahlad Maharaj, like how the Lord is favoring them. So it's always good to read the prayers of unalloyed devotees. For example, the Queen Kundi prayers, Gajendra prayers, they all give us the mood of like surrender. So the important point here, I'm told like that they're not blaming Krishna, right? So when in our material world, when calamities come upon us, are we praying like Queen Quinty, Krishna, let me think about like calamities befall on me, let me think of about you. We're not doing like that. We always blame Krishna. So that is not should be our attitude. We should have a complete surrender and faith in Krishna. So the other thing I learned from here is the Kaliya subwing story gives another lesson of one should be attached to Krishna. So when the Brajavasis came to know that Krishna is enveloped in the coils of serpent, they were stunned out of fear. They fell down. Even the cows, bulls, and small calves became so overwhelmed with grief and started to cry. So all the Brajavasis, including animals, were just on the point of death as they had decided dedicated everything to Krishna. So they're willing to sacrifice their love for Krishna. That should be our mood also. We should be willing to sacrifice everything for our Krishna and for our life, the property, affection, activities. Another thing which I noted is when the Brajavasis were so worried, the Balrama was very cool. So Balrama knew very well his younger brother is very capable of solving this calamity. Like he was able to conquer Kaliya. So he was very cool. So that's what we also should have the faith when we are living this material world. Like whatever calamities comes to us, Krishna will definitely protect us. And so how can we develop that faith? So if we hear attentively about Krishna, then the bhakti will develop in our heart. And along with what happens is all the negative tendencies like our kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsarya, all which are hindrance to our self-realization is removed. So we can develop a relationship with Krishna if we take the path of submissive hearing and his pastime. And Krishna and the pastimes are no different. So we can worship Krishna in the form of a baby, like then we can consider Krishna as a friend, then lover, like so many ways we can worship Krishna. So in the beginning, we don't feel love of Krishna. At least what happens is like we all come from different background. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, we'll be worshipping Durga Devi or other demigod like Lord Shiva, etc. So first, when we say Krishna is the supreme personality of a Godhead, like we feel like the heart accept it. So when slowly when we start to chant, we associate with devotees, and we know that difference. And at least we know the difference between material love and spiritual love. So example, when you combine milk with the rice flour mixed with water, they both look same. But does the rice flour mixed with water have the same taste like milk? Definitely no. So we know in material world, we are not always associated with devotees. So when we go out, we have people surrounded by people who are not devotees, and sometimes we face a lot of we try to do perfectly everything, but still there is someone who try to find fault in us or backstab. There's something or the other will keep coming, which will be depressing. So always take shelter of Krishna. So we can understand the difference between the material love and the spiritual love. We can never compare Krishna's love with material love, because Krishna love purifies us. So love in the material world is mixed. As I said earlier, like the Kaliya looked for opportunity to bite Krishna. So the material world, we have always something there to bite us. So how we have to save ourselves is to take shelter of Krishna. So all of us in this age of Kali Yuga are spiritually dead because of what? Of the lust, anger, envy, greed, false pride, an illusion, and that this we have accumulated in our heart. So we can come alive only when Krishna showers his merciful glance upon us in the form of mercy. The inspiration and the instruction of devotees follow. For example, when the Kadambatri, when I was reading this, I found that it was said because of the Kali's poison, that even the vapors, like the bird which fly, which come fall down dead, and so a lot of whoever drinks water from that lake, everything will die. But one thing, all the vegetation, the plants, trees, everything was dead. And one thing I noticed is the kadamba tree was staying there. So it is said like it was stood there for Krishna to perform his pastimes. In one angle, if I think, so in material world, like if we have to come out of this, all these negative tendencies, we have to be fixed in bhakti, bhakti towards Krishna. So that is why we can be fixed like kadamba tree, so that nothing will haunt us. All the negative tendencies will never affect us if we can be fixed in the bhakti. Then text 35 is Tapa sutaptam kim anena purvam mirasta manena cha mana dena dharmota va sarva janukampaya yedo bhavams tustyati sarva jivaha. So Nagapatni is asking Krishna, did our husband carefully perform austerities in a previous life with his mind free of pride and full of respect for others? Is that why you are pleased with him? Or did he in some previous existence carefully execute religious duties with compassion for all living beings? And is that why you, the life of living being, are now satisfied with him? So what is my realization here is, the Nagapatnis confirm that one cannot come in contact with Krishna without having executed pious activities in devotional service in previous lives. So if in this life, if we have got the opportunity to be Krishna consciousness, to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or to associate with devotees, definitely would have done some pious activities in the past life. So let's see who was Kalya. So Kalya in the past birth was a sage Vedshira who had performed severe austerities. So the Rishi Vedshira lived in a beautiful ashramam, and once the Ashwamedha Muni entered in his ashramam. Seeing him coming, the sage Vedshira shouted on him and said, "Not supposed to perform any penance here. Just get out of this place." So seeing this envious and full of hated behavior, Ashwamedha Muni cursed him and said, "You are behaving like a serpent who is always angry and envious to others. Therefore, I curse you to become a snake." So here also Kalya was misusing his power. So any man who commit a serious offense against a Vaishnava falls down from his position. That is what we see from this verse. So Vaishnava is a paradukha dukhi. Is very unhappy to see others in trouble. A Vaishnava, he fully takes shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He personally has no problem with anyone. But because he's compassionate towards the fallen conditioned soul, he always thinks of a plan to save them from the hellish life in the body. And the next. So what we should do is, we have to be careful not to offend a devotee. So if we have done some offense, repent for your mistake and seek forgiveness. But don't try to hurt anyone intentionally. We always be a true Vaishnava in our thought, deeds, and actions. So how can we experience the real love of Krishna? So first we have to do is our practice of chanting sincerely. So do devotional service. But devotional service is so strong that if one fully surrenders to Krishna and take fully to devotional service, the reactions of a sinful life immediately stops. So then here Krishna Katha. So when you immerse in Krishna Katha, like we always be thinking about Krishna only. So we don't worry about our past, present, or future. Our mind will be always immersed in Krishna. Then be humble. So Nagapatni realizes the mood of husband. So humility attracts the mercy of devotee. So Kalya, like when Krishna was dancing, Kalya was very arrogant, right? So when Krishna was dancing on the hood of Kalya, he started to spit poison, blood, everything. And finally, like Nagapatni sees that the husband is repenting for this mistake. Like he's becoming humble. So that time they decided to intervene for him. So they praised to Krishna to save their husband. So humility also is the one thing which attracts the mercy of devotees. Then we should not have any envy. So envy is also very dangerous in the path of Krishna consciousness. Then you have to make Krishna your goal. Then be a well-wisher for everyone. So give respect, serve them, and give up jealousy. And repent for your mistakes. Forgive people even though they don't deserve. Sometimes we come across people who just hurt us so bad, like it's very hard for us to forgive them. But still, we had to move forward in our life. Let karma deal with them, let Krishna deal with them. So always be a true Vaishnava. So we have to be careful not to offend devotees. Our tongue is also like a kalya, very, very slippery. Sometimes we can give happiness to people, or sometimes we can hurt by our words. So we have to be very cautious, like what we should speak to others, and so that they not get offended. And if we have to progress in bhakti, we have to remove all the tamasic qualities from our heart. So we have to pray sincerely for others. So Vaishnava prayers are very powerful. So what happens is Krishna reciprocates, because Vaishnava prays for the benefit of other devotees. So Krishna automatically reciprocates. So if you see Nagapatni's prayers, when they pray, Krishna forgives Kaliya. And Srila Prabhupada also prays for the welfare of all. And because of his mercy, a lot of people, like all the people who are not aware of Krishna, they became devotees. So associate with devotees and practice pure devotional service. So Krishna, if we see, the Krishna did not kill Kaliya. He killed the envy, hatred, and the anger inside him. So this is what association of Krishna and the devotees does. It washes their sins, kills the impurities within you, and sends you back to Godhead. The other thing is, when we don't have this negative tendencies within our heart, our quality of chanting will improve. It is said that when we chant sincerely, Krishna dances on our tongue. So all these negative tendencies are removed from our heart and our tongue. Then the quality of devotional service will also improve. And the relationship with people are also, and the devotees also will improve. And we will doing things which are pleasing to Krishna. So then Krishna comes out of Yamuna. So after hearing this, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was acting as a smart human child, ordered the serpent, "You must immediately leave this place and go to the ocean." So leave without delay. You can take with you all your offerings, wives, and everything that you possess. Don't pollute the water of Yamuna. Let it be drunk by cows and cowherd boys without hindrance. So if you see, the Kaliya is a born a serpent, but is very fortunate because because the biggest yogis earned to get the dust of Lord's lotus feet. But now here Kaliya, in his hood, he got the Krishna's footprint. It is a mark of protection created to tell Garuda not to harm Kaliya. And that is under protection of his master, the Lord Vishnu. So that protection mark allowed Kaliya along with his family to travel back to his home in Ramanaka Deep. The mark also ensured that Garuda did not harm him and helped Kaliya to live peaceful with his family, even though Kaliya did so much things, like Krishna was forgive him and he gave him the full protection. So even before we commit a consciousness, some of us are eating non-veg, tea, drinking tea, etc. But now we are part of Krishna consciousness. Like we know like what is right, what is wrong. We're able to decide things better compared to we were doing it before. So we also getting Krishna's protection. To conclude, so according to Vedic literature, it's said that anxiety of life in the material world can be elevated simply by hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna from the lips of a pure devotee. So the effect of hearing is that Krishna is that one becomes so absorbed in the eternal blissful world and forgets its illusory engagements in the world of death, disease, and old age. It means we don't worry about our future. Like Kaliya represents our desires, and Krishna represents our higher self. So that's what we should think. We have to control our desires and channelize in a way so that we can reach Krishna. That should be the highest goal. So in the Gita, 1866, Lord Krishna urges that one give up all other duties and surrender to him, and he promises, "Aham tavam sarva pabebhya mokshishyami." I shall free you from all sinful reactions and give you liberation. So this is what I understood from this verses. Hare Krishna. If I done any offense in my presentation, please I humbly request to forgive. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Atma Maya Mataji, for the wonderful class and sharing your realizations from the verses. You wonderfully explained many points, actually. What should be our mood while praying? It should be of complete surrender, and how not to blame Krishna, but rather beg forgiveness from Krishna and have full faith and surrender to Krishna. He explained why the Lord descends. It's to give pleasure to his devotees, and how one can be attached. Practically, how can we cultivate attachment to Krishna and develop faith is through attentive hearing. Bhakti will slowly develop in our heart if we do that. And that way we can develop relationship with Krishna. Do you explain the difference between the material love and spiritual love? How Krishna's love, what he's always our well-wisher. We cannot compare Krishna's love with material love. And then how in Kali Yuga we are all having the bad qualities, we are decorated with bad qualities of lust, anger, greed, and so forth. And bhakti is the remedy, doing devotional service, chanting, hearing, not being envious, being a well-wisher, giving respect. That's what I recall. So wonderful class, Mataji. Thank you so much for the class, sharing your realizations. With that, we'll conclude today's Bhakti Sangha program, BhagavatSanga program, and we'll meet next Wednesday. Thank you so much, devotees, for joining.